You are listening to the Postcast presented by the Locked On Senators podcast and the Glebe Central Pub. Make sure to check out the GCP where the vibes are free at 779 Bank Street. Let them know that Locked On Senators sent you and you'll get 10% off your order on Senators game days. The shuttle, $17 round trip to and from the CTC. Still 3 buses remaining for the regular season, and there will be send shuttles for the Stanley Cup playoffs. The Ottawa Senators, despite losing 5-2 to Columbus tonight, have clinched a spot in the dance. I'm Ross Levitan alongside Brandon Pillar and Lalime's Martian. And boys, we've done 290 postcasts. And finally, Pilsy, we've punched our ticket to the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Oh my God, it feels good. This is the first time ever that we have introed a loss to the Postcast with Danger Flutes. One of the greatest losses in our times as an Ottawa Senators podcast. The Ottawa Senators have an X beside their name in the standings. Maybe not the most ideal way for it to happen, a 5-2 loss combined with the Montreal Canadiens win, but we'll all forget about that in a couple weeks' time because the Ottawa Senators, for the first time since 2017, since they were wearing these jerseys, are back in the postseason. Let's go, Martian.
We did it, boys. We did it. We're going to the dance. We're going to be there. It's going to be unbelievable. You know what? And now all we have to do is wait to see who the opponent's going to be. It's going to be a fun couple weeks here until that. And I'm excited, boys. Am I excited to take Linus Ullmark's words.
If you are expecting a breakdown of tonight's game, you're not going to get it because that was garbage top to bottom. Did not go the Senators' way, and it does not matter at all. All that matters now is Friday because the reason the Ottawa Senators have clinched a spot in the playoffs is because the Detroit Red Wings lost in regulation to the Montreal Canadiens. And now the Habs are 3 points back of the Ottawa Senators heading in to a pivotal matchup. The Habs are 3-0 against the Sens this season, and they've won 6 games in a row coming into that matchup. It's going to be awesome. We talked about meaningless games once you clinch. I'm still down for Nick Jensen not to play. He's clearly not at 100%. But how are we feeling about the positioning here, Pilsy? Because you don't want the Habs to pass you just based on morals as Ottawa Senators fans. But you were saying in the group chat, there's a world where you'd prefer to be in the Metropolitan bracket.
Yes, as far as the bracket goes, and I don't want to be in a position where we're saying we want this team. It's more we don't want this team or that team. But the Metropolitan bracket, I think, could be more advantageous if you're looking at making it more than one round, which is everybody's goal. But it pains me to see it come at the cost of the Montreal Canadiens finishing ahead of the Ottawa Senators. The bottom line is, now that there's an X there, I really don't care where they finish. They're going to the playoffs. Oftentimes, 8 seeds are able to upset and are able to prove to number 1 seeds, hey, we've been grinding, we've been working to this. You've not coasted because it's hard to be a number 1 seed, but for the last couple of weeks of the season, you've known you're going to get in. You've been coasting. You're not as hungry as we are. So it doesn't matter where we finish. I'm just glad we're there. I don't care who we play. Certainly there's preferred opponents and less preferred opponents, but the Ottawa Senators are going to the playoffs. So I'm not about to spin zone my way into thinking negatively here.
Marshy, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I've always been on the boat of I don't care who we play as well here, but I'm still looking at it and I'm thinking to myself, we're past the point now of getting into the playoffs. We got to start looking even further into it here. I know we got a series ahead of us, but that as you said, Pilsy, that Metro division does look like kind of a tasty route to a deeper run, I would say. But at the same time, I think the tastiest treat of all would be to play the Toronto Maple Leafs. Let's get some revenge on these guys. After 23 years ago, they took us out the last time they did it. And I'm just ready for the playoffs. I couldn't be any more excited. I'm thinking though, for me, I still think the most fun first round opponent would be the Toronto Maple Leafs. Give me that Battle of Ontario. That would be delightful.
And the Atlantic Division is far from figured out as well. Like there's an easy scenario where the Tampa Bay Lightning win that division as well. Those two teams play tomorrow night, Tampa and Toronto. That's going to be
and
huge.
Florida just beat Toronto. Like even there's jockeying for position there.
I'm just happy to be in the dance, boys. It's been so long. Like the last time the Ottawa Senators were in the playoffs, Pilsy, we were still in school. Think of everything that's happened since then. We've both bought homes. We've both gotten engaged. I have a kid.
We've left Toronto. Thank goodness. Both of us are out of there.
Goodness. I just want to dance. Like the chat knows. This is just I'm almost speechless, which is not a great place to be when you're on a podcast where you literally have to speak or the dead air takes over. But the playoffs are coming to Ottawa for the first time since 2017. And I could honestly just repeat that over and over and over and over again. And I think it would be well received by the chat.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've both, all three of us have said it at least 3 times now. Maybe at the end of this, someone do a counter of how many times each of us says it, but it's never going to get old. We've waited 7 years for this, and Ross and I have done what we do today, Ross, episode 1263.
That's a 65, and that's of the daily podcast. If you include all of the in-betweens, like the breaking news, the trade deadline extras, this was the 1651st episode that we've posted overall.
Yeah, I mean, it's
That's just insane, boys, that you guys have put that much work and time into this thing, and they have never made it to the playoffs since you started doing it. That just shows you the mental fortitude and the commitment that you guys have put forward here with this podcast. And I don't think you guys would have made it this far if it wasn't for the good people in the chat and all your listeners and all the great Sens fans who found your podcast and stuck with it this whole way through. I mean, the listeners, our fans, they're amazing, and the CTC is going to be rowdy for game 3, boys. Game 3.
Oh my God. I got one question though, and I'm not trying to sober the moment. I'm not. But the Senators, we talked about 9
let's take a quick drink before that then.
Yeah, okay.
Here we go.
Drink.
Yeah, okay. Now
9 of the last 11 games on the road. They come out with 1 point in those 2 road games. Are you nervous for starting with 2 games on the road?
No, Ross. I don't know if you're aware of this. There is a famous saying in sports, hockey specifically, you're not in trouble until you lose at home. So, and this team is dominant at home. And when this team is at home for the playoffs, the roof is like, they're going to have to start working on a new arena in LeBreton Flats because they're not going to be able to afford the repairs on the roof.
It's going to look like Tropicana Field, eh?
Yeah, like it's going to be an absolute disaster. So no, I'm not worried about that. And I think too, like the road losses, there's been guys out for those. I'm going to make up excuses here for why I've decided that that's an irrelevant stat, Ross, but it's going to be different in the playoffs. Let's just put it that way. So I don't have to try to come up with fake stats here.
Oh man, no, we don't need fake stats tonight. We need to come out here and remind the people that you suffered through the lows and lows. Like we already did our Festivus episode, so I know everyone in the chat, they don't want to be reminded of trading Mark Stone and the proudest day as general manager. They don't want to be reminded of the Uber video or boomeranging your Twiggy at practice or Andy saying, oh, damn, another rush. Everybody's coming at me. They don't want to remember when half of the Sens decor was Zaitsev, Gabranson, and Josh Brown. We don't want to remember those days, but they all made us strong into the Senators fans we are today, cheering on a team that can make this city proud. Still 4 games left in the regular season, all on home ice. A big one for positioning potentially against the Montreal Canadiens on Friday. And then you've got Philly, Chicago, and Carolina to wrap up the regular season before you are guaranteed at least 4 more games. That's all they've been promised is 4 extra games. It's on the team to get to any further than that. And I believe in this group. I also believe that there's players who probably have a little bit more to give offensively, and we'll discuss who are the X factors heading in to the Stanley Cup playoffs for the Ottawa Senators. That's next. You're listening to the Postcast presented by the Locked On Senators podcast, as well as our great friends at the Glebe Central Pub. The Postcast is always brought to you by the GCP, where the vibes are free. You can check them out at 779 Bank Street. Make sure you let them know that Locked On Senators sent you. Our guy Phil Lalime was at the Glebe Central Pub tonight. Said it was rocking. He loves the atmosphere there, loves the food. The service is top notch. You're always going to be able to get an amazing tasting smash burger. Pillsy loves the wings, and I'm a huge fan of the atmosphere that's created there, not only by the people that attend there, not only by the staff, the great local atmosphere there, but it's also because the Senator Shuttle brings fans together before the game. The bus leaves an hour and 15 minutes before puck drop at the CTC, and it'll bring you right back to the pub after for just $17 round trip. It's the best deal going. If you're going to a game alone or you just want to be surrounded by all the Sens fans you can imagine, you can get tickets on the website, GlebeCentralPub.com. They will only be running one shuttle per game, so tickets will be limited. Make sure to get yours when they drop on GlebeCentralPub.com and let them know that Locked On Senators sent you. On game days, you'll get 10% off your order at the Glebe Central Pub.
This episode is also brought to you by Monarch Money. Have you ever checked your bank account and wonder, where did all my money go? Between dining out, online shopping, Ottawa Senators playoff tickets, it's easy to lose track. But that's where Monarch Money comes in, your personal CFO giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app, guys. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place. So stop just managing your money. Start building your wealth. Instead of juggling multiple apps, you can use Monarch to check your finances, track your spending, and even plan your long-term goals. Managing money with your partner is smoother than ever. You can track shared and personal accounts, set goals, and stay on the same page without all that stress. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONNHL at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONNHL for half off your first year.
Welcome back to the Postcast. I'm Ross Levitan alongside Brandon Pillar and Lalime's Martian. We have a very special guest joining us in just a moment. But first, let's recap tonight's game. A 5-2 loss to the Columbus Blue Jackets. The shots were 35-35. Both teams get one power play goal. Ottawa on 4 attempts, Columbus on 2. Columbus snaps back 59% of the faceoffs. Ottawa blocks 22 shots to 20 for Columbus and gets 27 hits to 23 for Columbus. Ottawa with 47.6 expected goals percentage at 5-on-5. The only real storyline to come out of this game, if you're an Ottawa Senators fan, is Fabian Zetterlund finally gets off the schneid, his first goal as a member of the Ottawa Senators, banging home a loose puck. And those are the types of goals that usually come to you when you're on a streak, right back door. All you had to do is tap it in, just give it a little tap-a-roo. His 16th game with Ottawa and first goal. Hopefully that means the floodgates are opening. Let's get some more vibes, because if you haven't heard, the Ottawa Senators have clinched a playoff spot for the first time since 2017. And this seems like a perfect time to reunite the entire Postcast crew. Jack Richardson joins us. Jack, how you feeling, buddy?
Let's go, boys. Did the Sens even play tonight? I was just locked into the Montreal and Detroit game. That was that's all I was watching. I don't know if the Sens even played.
No, they didn't.
We're not talking about that game.
Not at all. Boys, what a run. What a run. And so, like, long time coming. We could smell it the last couple weeks. Obviously, all season, never really been in doubt, to be honest. Like, they've been on that brink, but I'm just so proud of the team, man. Like, they got it done. They were all talk, all training camp, the management, all the changes, the coaching, the ownership, and they did it. They did it. And now they're in the playoffs, and now the fun begins.
I'm so happy. Jack, man, what was your immediate reaction when the clock struck 0 in the Habs Red Wings game?
I mean, I turned it off after the first empty netter because I couldn't take too many vibes from Montreal. Like, that was all I needed. As long as it was locked in, I was happy. But I think it hasn't even hit me yet. Like, scrolling, Twitter, seeing all the graphics the teams got made up and all the the hype videos they've got. Like, that's bringing me back to 2017 when I was a 16-year-old kid, boys. I couldn't drive a car the last time the Sens made the playoffs. So that's what I'm pumped about. Like, it feels like going back in a time machine a little bit.
Jack, are you already getting ahead of yourself and looking at playoff paths and opponents and things like that? Or are you just of the mind, hey, we're in. I don't care where we finish. I don't care who we play.
I mean, you guys know me. I'm a big picture guy, so I've been doing that basically all season. But yeah, I mean, the Sens are in a good spot, right? They're kind of, I wouldn't say locked into that first wild card spot, but they're not in jeopardy of losing it now. Like, they can lose it, but it wouldn't mean losing a playoff spot. I wouldn't mind slipping to 8th. The only downside would be having the Habs pass them. But yeah, I'd say I'm looking at all the matchups and everything. I want the Leafs. Everyone wants the Leafs. That'd be a great series. Hockey wants that, but wouldn't hate playing Washington. And honestly, it doesn't matter. Whoever they play, I'll be excited, man. It's just can't get picky at this time.
Jack, final question from me, brother, and we will see you back on the postcast very soon. Who is your number one X Factor player for the Ottawa Senators in the Stanley Cup playoffs?
I mean, I'm wearing his jersey. It's got to be the captain. Got to be hoping. Obviously, he's back to full health, but it's the guy everyone in the league wants to see come playoff time. We got a taste of it at the Four Nations, and I think it was just a taste because I think he's got way more to give than that, and he'll do it. He's been the guy saying, we're going to make it. We're going to do it. We're going to make it happen here in Ottawa. I want what Matthew did for my team. That's what he was saying last year. So we'll see. I'm just so pumped to see Brady Tkachuk in the playoffs.
I'm pumped to see you back on the postcast, fella. Get some sleep tonight. We'll catch you soon. There goes Jack Richardson signing off after a clincher for the Ottawa Senators, losing to the Columbus Blue Jackets. Pillsy, you had told me, like, how do you want to clinch? Do you want to win? Does it still feel pretty good?
I got a lot. I got to be honest. When the game was over, I was a little bit bummed. And then the tweets started trickling in of the Sens clinching. And I just forgot about what team it was that won and what team it was that lost that caused this. And I was able to forget it pretty quickly. I was bummed for 5 minutes, not going to lie, but that's all in the past now, and I'm fully on board. I'm fully excited. Like, the amount of time and pain that has gone into this is all just kind of like washing through me right now.
And can't thank everybody enough. All the supers throwing some toonies in the guitar case. Can't thank everybody enough who've been riding with us and dying with us after each and every game here on the Senators' run to a Stanley Cup playoff spot. And I love Brule in the chat said, boys, go rewatch your Vancouver postcast from November 23rd.
Yeah, we need to have Kyle back on because that was wild. Him being like, nah, you guys are in a good spot. Like, don't even worry about it. We're like, don't patronize us. The Canucks are going to make the playoffs again. We want what you have. We have another year of suffering. Don't do this nice guy talk. He's like, no, seriously. Like, you guys are looking good. And now look at how things are going now. So, yeah, it's it feels good, and we've been riding the roller coaster that is Sens hockey, and we're finally on the way up here.
That's the great Lalime's Martian once said. Being an Ottawa Senators fan is not for the faint of heart, Marshy. When did you know that this was going to be the case?
That they were going to make the playoffs? Well, I think a couple weeks ago, right when they got into that second wildcard spot and I felt they were pretty comfortably set in there. That's probably, I started saying the P word on the postcast pretty frequently after that. So I'd say probably for sure, I'd say 2 weeks ago, almost on the dot, I was feeling pretty comfortable with where they were at. So I think that's probably it. Up until then, you never really know because that Eastern Conference has been so tight this whole way. That race has been like one we haven't seen. And it just feels so good to be that first wild card team to clinch. We no longer have to worry about it. The last thing, though, I want to do is let the Habs get into it, right? And be the team that that allows them in. Friday's game is a little bit more important to me than it probably should be. I just don't want to hear it from them. You know, they're going to be if the Sens lose on Friday to the Habs, they're only going to have 1 point. They're only going to be 1 point behind us. So it's not like it's not close still, but. Yeah, I'm just really happy to be in there. I'm almost still in disbelief, boys. This feels surreal talking about the Sens going to the playoffs. Now, just imagine what it's going to feel like when we're doing a postcast during the playoffs, after a playoff game. That is going to be Vibe City, fellas.
like I threw on my jersey for tonight's game. I'm sitting on the couch
A loss.
thousands of kilometers away, and I'm feeling just every single moment within the game. And I just can't believe what we're witnessing right now. I think, like, I said this all along, and I didn't believe it until right now.
Oh,
The losses did make this feel better. I really, like, I'm thinking back to losing 9 in a row to Edmonton during the COVID season. I'm thinking about just getting dummied by Chicago after the 6-game win streak that Pilsy remembers so vividly. I'm thinking about all the lowest moments, and it all has brought us right here to right now. And I think that every Ottawa Senators fan can acknowledge that the wait, because I know that they never fully got over the hump in the 16 years, I believe, when they made the playoffs every single year. But it was an expectation. You were in the Toronto Maple Leafs boat where it's like you get there and then, okay, here we go. But the journey to get to where they are, it just speaks volumes to the passion of this fan base to get through those dark years. And I'm seeing so many names being thrown in to the chat of Ottawa Senators players they had to watch through the lows of lows. No disrespect, but Oscar Lindbergh, I think just because he was a throw-in the Mark Stone trade, he jumps out to me right away. Like, all these players, you were never going to win a Stanley Cup with these guys. You're never going to go far with Brian Gibbons playing at an unbelievable clip for a couple of weeks. The Ottawa Senators built from within. They have now added veterans. We tweeted out yesterday the playoff games played by all these players. Except for Hamonic and Giroux, they've all been brought in by the new management group. Steve Staios, Dave Poulin, guys who have been there through the trenches and know what it takes to get to the Stanley Cup Finals, like Poulin and Steve Staios both have been in their careers. And you got Daniel Alfredson behind the bench. You got Travis Green in place. You just have a core now that is ready to take the next step. We're ready to bring on Dr. Bob for a boots-on-the-ground report from Columbus, but not before Pilsy has a word from our friends at Indeed.
yes, this episode is also brought to you by Indeed. You realize your business needed to hire someone yesterday? How can you find amazing candidates fast? It's easy, guys. Just use Indeed. When it comes to hiring, Indeed is all you need. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other sites. Indeed sponsored job post puts your post at the top of the page and helps you reach the right candidates faster. Have you been in a spot where you need the right hire like yesterday? The pressure's on, and every day without the right person is a setback for your business. That's exactly when Indeed sponsored job comes in handy. They make sure your post is seen by the right candidates right now. Now you can speed up your hiring process with a $75 sponsored job credit. Just go to Indeed.com/lockedon right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on the Locked On Senators podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring, Indeed is all you need.
Welcome back to the Postcast. I'm Ross Levitan alongside Brandon Pillar and Lalime's Martian. The obligatory score tonight was 5-2 for the Columbus Blue Jackets, but it don't matter because the Ottawa Senators still clinch a playoff spot. Now let's head to Ohio where we bring on Dr. Bob and nobody. I'm saying nobody deserves playoffs more as this fan base than Dr. Bob. How many kilometers have you traveled since the Ottawa Senators have made the Stanley Cup playoffs?
Well, on this Dr. Bob Sens tour, 175,000 kilometers.
Oh,
This is the 125th game.
oh my God.
Yeah, 175,000 kilometers. My RAV4 is over 200,000. Because, yeah, I drive a few other places, too. But
No,
yeah,
you don't.
it is just phenomenal that we're in the playoffs. I was there in Pittsburgh when Chris Kunitz scored that overtime goal. It was an Impala then, but what can you say? So,
175,000.
That blew me out of the water. I was going to say 120 or something. Like, wow.
We need Dr. Bob to do a RAV4 commercial or something. Those things seem to go forever.
yeah, and it's when I drive with my family in it, they say, "Hey, it's brand new," because it is. It's only 2.5 years, so yeah.
And you sleep in this car as well?
Yeah, I've car camped probably about 40 times. Some of the nice places to do it are at the truck stops in the middle of the desert, you know? You just have to walk over the rattlesnake on the way to the washroom. So, yeah. So it's been fun.
we brought you up on today's show and mentioned how much you've been
Yeah, thank you.
traveling. And we also did a segment on Thomas Chabot deserving
Shabby.
playoffs. So I put it in. We do this thing that spits out our timestamps, and it gives us poll questions if we want to use it. And one of the questions was, who deserves playoffs more, Thomas Chabot or Dr. Bob?
Yeah.
were the two answers.
Shabby played really well tonight.
Yeah.
He kept trying, so that was good.
Do you want to tell us about tonight's game?
Well, I obviously disappointed, but we're also very pleased. We're in the playoffs. What can you say? Yeah. And I thought Highmore looked pretty good. And Forsberg, he wasn't the reason why we lost. He kept us in it in the beginning of the second period. That was down at my end, and he made some great saves. But, yeah, I think we're keeping Olmark for Montreal. We got a win against Montreal on Friday. I'll be there, too. So, yeah. Maybe Brady will come back for a one-game cameo appearance to help make sure we stay in seventh. Because I'd like to play the Leafs just like all of you guys would, except for maybe Brandon wants Washington. I don't know, with the cherry blossoms.
Well, Dr. Bob, you just want that because it'll be a shorter drive for you from down in Southern Ontario.
My family wondered.
What are you most? Go
Go
ahead.
ahead. My family wondered about going across the border, but it was really easy. The guy was a hockey fan, so what can you do?
Oh, that's awesome. So, Dr. Bob, what are you most excited about for playoffs?
Being able to be there and play against the Leafs would be very nice, but wherever we play. I want to see how Brady plays in the Stanley Cup playoffs. If he plays anywhere near like he did with the Four Nations, that'll be phenomenal.
Oh, it will. Give it. So Brady's already been taken by Jack. Give us your X factor for the playoffs for Ottawa.
I think it might be Ridley Gregg.
I like that.
Yeah, see how he does. I think he could grow up a lot and play semi-Brady. You know, have 2 or 3 Bradys on there. Nick Cousins comes back.
So. Yeah, those guys will cause some trouble in the playoffs as well. Bob, in Columbus, how many Sens fans were there? Did you get to celebrate the clinch in person with fellow Sens fans?
One of the guys who was there just a couple of rows back when we got down 5-1, he just gave me a high five and left. But, yeah, it's good to be in the playoffs. It would have been nice to win on our own, but Columbus is really tough at home. They play really strong, and Elvis was phenomenal. He played very well.
Yeah, you got to give credit to him. And you wonder how it would have gone, Marshall. I'll snap it to you with this one. Like, he's a lot better than Tarasov in what I've seen of the two goalies.
Yeah, he looks great. Even when Jake Sanderson's beaming pucks off his mask like he has been, like the last 2 games against Columbus, he's hit him in the head 3 times. Bob, I was just going to ask you real quick if you could hear us all right, because that cannon went off 5 times in that arena, and I'm wondering what that experience was like.
Well, I'm a little older, as you can tell, and so my ears are getting a little bit of trouble with 125 games in a short period. But the cannon, it was at the other end, so I was okay, and I wore earplugs.
Yeah, that played into your benefit then, maybe. So there you go.
Yeah.
Dr. Bob, can we expect to see you at every playoff game? What's your plan?
I hope to. I'm hoping that I get to 140 this year, because we're at 125. I'll be at Montreal and Philly, and let's get to the second round. Go Sens, go.
Dr. Bob, we appreciate you. Drive safe, and we cannot wait to see you in Ottawa for this Friday's game against Montreal and beyond in the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Sure.
Thanks for doing this, man.
Thanks, guys. Go Sens, go.
There goes Dr. Bob. The guy is
What a
an
legend.
Absolute legend.
175,000 kilometers. I mean, that is absolutely nuts.
It's crazy.
Philly,
That's a crazy number.
we went to Minnesota and back from Winnipeg, and it was like 1,000, if that.
Yeah, that's a hop, skip, and a jump for Dr. Bob.
He could do that with his eyes closed. I wouldn't recommend it, but he probably could.
Yeah,
that's too much driving, but you gotta admire his commitment is almost as admirable as your guys' commitment with all the hours you put on the podcast. I bet you if you calculated it out,
hour for hour
put in, I think it would be pretty close. Maybe, I don't know.
And not only that, like it takes him 600 kilometers, give or take, to get to Ottawa for games. And he comes up to Ottawa too. He doesn't just go on the road. So
Yeah,
just
the
incredible.
home games aren't necessarily easy ones. Yeah.
No, there's got to be the biggest dent in that driver's seat of all time. That's awesome. What a legend. And what a legendary time for the Ottawa Senators. Tomorrow on the show, we're going to compare and contrast how this Ottawa Senators team looks versus the 2017 team that made it to 1 goal away from the Stanley Cup Finals. And I guess I'll snap it to you boys as we wrap things up, because we got a lot of meat left on the bone. We're a pack of hyenas here. We just got the water buffalo. We took it down, and we got to share it. We got to snap it around. We'll be doing this in 12 hours here as we got Locked On Senators tomorrow morning. But how about you, Marshy? Who's your X factor without taking Brady Tkachuk or Ridley Gregg come playoff time for Ottawa?
Yeah, I was going to go with Brady Tkachuk if he was left on the table here for me, but I'm going to be looking straight between the pipes, boys. I'm going to be looking at Linus Ullmark as my X factor for the Sens for this one. Guys, like, huge offseason acquisition. We didn't even think it was going to be possible to get, Korpisalo off the books. And what do you know? We end up getting a true number 1 Vezina winning goalie coming in here, and he did exactly as he was advertised to do. Win important games for this team, steal games for this team, 4 shutouts. We're going to need him to be good in the playoffs, and I'm sure he's going to show up for this group. He knows how important it is to everybody in that room, and it's going to be very fun to watch what he's able to do in the playoffs, because who knows? If he can steal a game or 2 in that first round, then that's going to be an amazing thing for us. So I'm going to think that he's going to be, as he was all season, probably the most important player for the Sens in the playoffs.
Pilsy, I'll snap it to you with this, because we've talked a lot about Linus Ullmark as a guy who needed to get Ottawa to the playoffs. And there were some haters that came out of the woodworks when the trade was made and said Linus Ullmark has struggled historically in the playoffs. And we said, we don't care. We want to get to the playoffs. Now that we're there, we can take a look. 10 games, 9 starts, and an .887 save percentage. Are you at all nervous about that?
Yeah, and that was the one rebuttal that I would have time for when people bash the trade, because other than that, it was a masterful trade by Steve Staios. But for a franchise that hadn't made the playoffs in 7 years, the fact that you're getting a former Vezina winner that struggles in the playoffs was not at the top of our concerns. We were happy to have him either way. But I got to give credit to Martian for this take, because we talked about this a couple postcasts ago, Marshy, and you made a good point. I think the big difference this time around is Linus Ullmark knows he's the guy. He's the number 1 guy. How many times do you see in the playoffs teams that have a 1A, a 1B, and they mess it up royally? The coach is in a mental pretzel. He's like, okay, if this happens, this guy goes in, and then we're going to get this guy in game 3. But if this happens, then we're going to wait till game 5, and then we're going to flip-flop between them. And it's just absolute chaos and a disaster. And Linus Ullmark has had to deal with that every time he's been in the playoffs with the Boston Bruins, with him and Swayman, or at least the last couple times. So for me, this is a totally different situation, because there's no doubt in anyone's mind that every single game of this playoffs, probably at least round 1, belongs to Linus Ullmark, and there's none of that mental gymnastics being played here. And I think that will have a whole new meaning, and he's going to look at this as a chance to prove to everyone, show me you have the confidence in me, show me you trust me to do this, and I will do it.
Pilsy, who is your X factor in the playoffs?
Well, Ullmark was going to be mine, so good call by Martian. So we've got the captain, very important in the playoffs. The pest, Ridley Gregg, also very important in the playoffs. The goalie, very important in the playoffs.
I already know you're going to take my guy.
Maybe you got to go with a number 1 defenseman in Jake Sanderson. The next guy, like Linus Ullmark, will play the most minutes. Second,
that was my guy.
Will be Jake Sanderson.
Let's unbox the bobblehead as you tell.
Let's do it. Number 85, the smooth skating 2-way defenseman that has found a way to pop off offensively. The way this guy impacts the game on both ends of the ice is absolutely crucial to having success in the playoffs. You need a guy that you can trust to transition the puck up the ice, to be smart and responsible defensively, to have the confidence to shoot the puck from the point in the playoffs, to be able to set guys up, to be able to make those small plays that he makes over and over that don't show up on the box score, but are so crucial to stopping other teams' top players, to play with Artem Zub, shutting down the top offensive opponents. Like, Jake Sanderson is going to be absolutely huge here for the Ottawa Senators. And although Linus Ullmark was my guy, I have no shame in taking Sanderson because it's going to be awesome to see how he does in the postseason.
You've made some great points. Marshy, go ahead.
Yeah, no, you hear a lot of, I mean, I've got Leafs fans in my mentions. I've heard Biz Nasty, he's been talking about it. A lot of fan bases from other teams don't realize how good Jake Sanderson is. I mean, if they think that they're going to have an easy time out there when he's out there chugging along for 25 minutes, passing the puck through dimensions to his forwards and breaking the puck out with his legs, it's not going to be as easy as you think. Jake Sanderson is a stud back there, and this is just another guy, along with Brady, who, when you get him in a playoff situation, I think there's a whole nother gear for him, and I think that he's going to reach it as well, Pilsy, so I like that pick. Ross, while you were unboxing that Sanderson, did you come up with an X factor of your own? I think I know who you're going with.
Yeah, I mean, there's multiple options I can do. I don't want to leave anybody as the cleanup hitter in this exercise. I don't want to forget somebody that pops off for 5 game-winning goals. Like, can I do an undercover one and one that I feel needs to be the X factor? Because the guy you've got the bobblehead right there, Tim Stützle, he needs to be an X factor for the Ottawa Senators. But if I'm allowed to go off the board here for a second,
do it.
Stanley Cup champion Michael Amadio.
Okay,
I love it.
They brought. How you're gonna go?
They brought him in to be a big moment type guy, to be steady Eddie at 5-on-5, have 50-50 shifts. I think that if the Senators are going to win a series, Michael Amadio is going to have at least one game-winning goal or one signature game where we say Michael Amadio helped this team win a series in the Stanley Cup final or in the
He's looking ahead.
Freudian slip. If they win a series, Michael Amadio is going to be a big part of it.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
That experience that he had with Vegas a couple of years ago is going to go a long way. And obviously, as these games get tighter we've seen it down the stretch already. When the games get a little bit more tight checking, he's more effective. I think you could have almost given the exact same spiel for David Perron, like a very similar type situation where
Claude Giroux.
Giroux is where I thought you were gonna go. That was my pick.
No, I think I wanted an undercover one, right? Like, those guys are on top of the covers. They haven't gotten in yet, but you have experience in the playoffs. And I know Nick Cousins won the cup last year. He played 1 game in the Stanley Cup finals, but Michael Amadio was a sneaky big part of the Vegas Golden Knights run as that second wave. And he had, how many goals did he have? I'm going to look it up right now. I feel like he had some goals in that run to a Stanley Cup in 2013. 5 goals, 5 assists in 16 games. Like, if he mark my words, Michael Amadio is going to have a big role on the Ottawa Senators, because we know that Travis Green trusts that line of Pinto, Gregg, and Amadio. They're going to get some big minutes to make things happen. It's going to be on them to do it.
Yeah, I mean, those are the types of guys. Like, I feel like every year, look at the team that wins the Stanley Cup, and the people that have watched that team or watched the playoffs pretty thoroughly, the real puckheads, the hockey fans, they can point to the third line and be like, one of those guys, without him, there's so many moments throughout this run that you don't get past, that you don't get through without guys like that. There's the old saying, there's guys that'll get you there, and then there's guys that'll get you through. Is that it? Something like that.
Yeah. For sure. And Pilsy, I remember when the Ottawa Senators, last time they were in the Stanley Cup finals, actually, the team that beat them had a hell of a third line on Anaheim with Tammy Paulson and Justin
Travis.
Henner.
Travis Moen and you got it there, Rob Niedermeyer.
Like, those guys, their depth was just so good. And that's all they did, was they were just playing that shutdown role, very physical, very hard to play against. So Yeah, I think any of those guys could be X factors for sure, boys.
Do you want to just run through the whole lineup
we
and
just
just
love
say
this team.
everybody's
Hey,
gonna
we
be?
just love this team. And that's the thing. We could talk about each guy in this lineup, no problem, if we really wanted to.
Final topic here. We'll leave some meat on the bone for tomorrow, but lots of talk in the chat about when the playoff beards start. And I think I've decided it's the morning after game 82.
Yeah.
Clean shaven, Friday, April 18th, and we ride from there.
Marcy's already got it started.
I committed a little early, but I'll do it again. I had a funny thing that happened at the bachelor party I was at where I just decided to shave my face in the middle of the bachelor party. But yeah, this is just to get a kick out of I wanted to get a kick out of the boys. That's why I did it. And it worked. It was great. The boys were howling. But yeah, I'll commit to that. Yeah, we'll shave our faces for sure.
Okay. Team shave. We'll do it for content. We'll all take individual videos and we'll post it on the podcast. If you want to have a laugh later tonight, tomorrow, go watch our postcast November 23rd after the loss to the Vancouver Canucks. It felt like rock bottom. But ladies and gentlemen, the Ottawa Senators have clinched a playoff spot for the first time since 2017. We are going to the dance. Bring your dancing shoes. Bring your Senators jersey. Get the car flags out on the car. I know that Dr. Bob's got his on, and you need to as well. Let's get the vibe rolling. The Sens lose 5-2 to the Columbus Blue Jackets, and nobody cares. Senators are going to the dance. Pilsy, any final thoughts from you on tonight's Vibecast? First ever loser Vibecast ever.
Yeah. Final thoughts for me is, look, it's been a long road for all of us. And like we talked about earlier, Ross and I don't continue this show with the same passion. We don't grind every day and beyond with bonus content. And we don't fuel off the energy of this team without the passion from the fans. All you guys that are here right now, 500 people in the chat, people that have followed along in the darkest days. Nothing makes me more happy than when it's no, actually that's a lie. There's lots of things, but it warms my soul when there's a big loss and there's still a large group of people in the Postcast chat. We all got through this together. Misery loves company, but you got to celebrate big moments together as well. We couldn't do it without everyone listening, without our sponsors, without the Ottawa Senators team really kind of hooking us up recently, without our guy, Lalime's Martian, without our guy, Jack Richardson. There's so many people that have helped us get to this moment without the Locked On Podcast Network. So I'm just in a very gracious, humble mood right now because the best is yet to come. Like we're talking about the best feeling ever, being in playoff hockey. I was talking to Ross this morning, the stress, the anxiety, thinking all morning, game day's coming up, the puck drops, and you're full tilt, leaning over on the couch the whole time. You're living and dying with your team. There's no better feeling. So I'm just so thankful that we've had the opportunity to get here. We've had to grind to get here, but we're here. And I just want to thank everybody that supported us along the way.
Every puck battle in the playoffs feels like a breakaway in overtime during the regular season. It's that elevated. And there's Sens fans in the chat. Jack Richardson just let us know he didn't have his driver's license the last time the Ottawa Senators made playoffs. There's people in the chat who have never really appreciated playoff hockey, and there's lots who have and who have been through the rigors. I was 6 years old when Ottawa clinched for the first time. All I knew was playoffs until my teens. That's it. There's so many different areas of Sens fandom right now that are all coming together, and people are remembered for the playoffs. Jean-Gabriel Pageau, a perfect example. The guy was a perfectly fine middle six player for the Senators. He will be a legend in Ottawa forever for what he did in his first ever playoff series, the hat trick against the Habs, and then what he did in 2017, 4 goals. That's absolutely sick. You remember clips and everything about the playoffs. Everything is risen, and I cannot wait to be a part of it every single day on the Locked On Senators podcast. Marshy, any final thoughts from you?
Yeah, no, I just want to say, I mean, it's hard to follow Pilsey's final thoughts up because that was a hell of a speech there, Pilsey, and I completely agree. But I don't think I could have got through this without you guys either. You know, it's like these are therapy sessions for us half of the time. I think we deserve to move forward into this new era here, and the playoffs are going to be a blast. And just a big go Sens go from me, baby. I'm excited. I just don't want to see them limp into the playoffs. I'd like to see them get a couple more wins here, lock up that top wild card spot, and then let's just roll into this baby, and let's get some mean parties going at the GCP and at the CTC when the spring weather's out and we're all out front of the CTC having beers and yakking it up, meeting each other. There's nothing better than that. When was the last time we had a red zone? I don't even know if it was still going in 2017, but the red zone's a riot, guys, and so it's just going to be the city. I'm so happy that I'm in the city. It's going to be very electric. It's going to be Sens pilled. It's going to be awesome.
Cannot wait, boys. And we got Postcast to go. Let's not get overly excited yet because the road to the playoffs still continues. The opponent still up for grabs and lots more coverage here on LOSP. For tonight, we say goodbye. Let's get some Go Sens goes in the chat and let us know your X factor going into the playoffs. We'll do a whole segment on it on Locked On Senators. Just remember the name Michael Amadio. That's all I'm saying. For Brandon Pillar and Lalime's Martian, shout out to Jack Richardson. Shout out to Dr. Bob. I'm Ross Levitan. This has been the Postcast presented by the Locked On Senators podcast and the Glebe Central Pub. Check out the GCP where the vibes are free at 779 Bank Street. Get on the Send Shuttle, $17 round trip, and let them know that Locked On Senators sent you at the pub and get 10% off your order on a Senators game day. We're a part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.